Hello out there, everybody. Manny here at Area 503. And I hope you all have been well since our last video.
Hey everybody, I know it's been a while since my last video. I just want to apologize for taking so long, but I needed to take a break, and so I did. I just want to give a big thank you to those of you out there who reached out to me both publicly and privately. Thank you guys. That really means a lot to me. And in the future, I'll be sure to let you all know when I'm taking a break, so there will be no worrying. Anyhow, let's get to it and talk some UFOs. The first sighting that I want to show you guys took place over Lake Ontario. Check this out. It's awfully dark, but I can tell that there's something there. You can see it flickering and flashing. I wonder what it is.
It's a UFO over the Lake Ontario.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Try and stabilize this.
Yeah, that'll really help when I track this thing later.
I can't believe I'm actually catching this.
Believe it, dude.
This is insane. Like, look at it bounce all over the place.
Let's figure out what it is.
I'm gonna try and get some background in here so you guys can see. It's so dark. You can't even see it very well when I back out, but there.
Yeah, that's because the light from the streetlights there floods the aperture of the camera, bleeding out the UFO.
It's definitely moving.
Okay, I understand that there's only so still that you can hold a camera by hand. But I really don't think all of this movement comes from camera shake, or we would have seen the streetlight shaking when he panned down as well.
What the? It's like all over the place, man. Bouncing around. That is not a star. That thing is flickering and bouncing, zigzagging. That's incredible.
You're right, dude, that is pretty incredible, and I don't think it's a star either. Great Lakes Naval Academy is on Lake Ontario, so we can't rule out that this is some form of military training, perhaps a drone or a helicopter.
Wow. That's just insane. Totally moved. Damn it.
It's understandable to see why it's hard to keep track of this thing because it's moving around so dang much. But what could bounce around like that and appear to flicker like this? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
This is me keeping the camera 100% still. Look at that thing move. I'm literally not even moving. Holy shit. Don't worry. It's f***ing insane.
I get it, man, but watch the language. This is a PG program.
Let's try and get some background in here so we can get some perspective.
You must have watched episode 67, 10 tips and tricks to capture better UFO footage.
Come on, where did it go? Yeah, there we are. Let's zoom in on it. Oh, where'd it go?
You see, that's another indication of just how much this UFO is moving around. Every time he zooms up on it, he loses it.
Where'd it go?
See? Just like that.
There you are.
But as much as this thing is moving around, I'm just not convinced that it's some sort of alien craft. The flickering of the light reminds me of a helicopter with marker lights, and so does the movement, so I'm leaning in that direction.
Like that it's just crazy. You can see it flickering, moving back and forth. I've never seen anything like that. And that's over Lake Ontario in Canada. I'm gonna send this to you, Tyler. Secure him. We know it's not a plane, because you can see a plane. Let's see if you can see it.
That's good that you differentiate between a plane, because there are at least a dozen major and minor airports in the Lake Ontario area.
Where did it go? Come on. See the plane in the background there? Down to the bottom right? And this thing is just flickering. UFO is to the top. And it's moving. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop videoing.
So there you guys have it. That's the footage from Lake Ontario in its entirety. I know I said that I believe it's a helicopter or something like that, but what do you guys think it is? Let me know in the comments section below. Maybe if we get enough eyes looking at this thing, we can figure out what it is together. Let's go ahead and move along to the next sighting, which took place during the Crew Dragon 2 shuttle launch and was sent into the channel by a viewer named Darren. I meant to get to this footage before my break, but I didn't get a chance, and I apologize, Darren, so let's take a look at it right now.
So as I was mentioning earlier, if you're just now joining us, Dragon is now just 220 meters in front of the space station. The astronauts aboard, Bob Benkin and Doug Hurley.
I didn't get very far into watching the replay of this footage before I started to see some anomalous things myself, so I'm glad that Darren tipped me off to this. One of the first things that Darren noticed was these odd specks of white light that keep popping up. Let's take a look at one. At this point, the shuttle is using its thrusters to maneuver. You can see the plumes bursting out of the side, and it's when these plumes erupt that you see other bits of light around the shuttle.
Very cool to see those thruster plumes.
Yeah, the Kronos and Mission Control Houston actually opened up the iris a little bit on that camera on the space station so we could see these plumes.
Aha, that sounds like it might be a clue to what's going on here. It sounds like they opened up the iris on the camera to allow more light in so that you could see the thruster plumes. Maybe when they did that, it's allowing in more light from back objects like distant stars or galaxies, or even other satellites passing by in the neighborhood. At this point, that's the only guess I have, but let's keep watching the footage and see if there's any more of these things that pop up. Maybe we can get some more information and figure out what they are. Wow, another one of these things. And another. And this time there's no thruster plume. Gosh, that's really weird. I was beginning to think that these were stars or planets because they're holding their position relative to the ISS and the shuttle. And now I'm just not so sure. Here we are and another one of these UFOs pops up. But then something far more interesting happens. Check this out. Whoa, did you guys see all those? That was crazy. I wonder what NASA thinks about all that.
A little bit overexposed there, but you can still see the thrusters firing.
Yeah, our Kronos working to do that deliberately for us so we can see those thruster plumes from this camera view. We're at a normal exposure, so not able to see those jets into the darkness of space. But when we do overexpose a little bit, you're able to see those thruster plumes coming out of the Dragon spacecraft.
So, a little overexposed, he says. Well, yeah, I guess so. And that might even explain why this one is red, because maybe we're looking out towards Mars and we just picked it up when they overexposed the aperture of the camera. But if these stationary objects are distant stars, planets, or galaxies, what are these other objects that are moving at an angle away from the shuttle at some kind of velocity?
Yeah, it's amazing how the plume has to catch the light just the right way for us to even see that it's happening outside of data.
The only thing that I can think that those could be would be clumps of condensation that's frozen into ice that's being launched away from the vessel for some reason. That's right, the infamous NASA ice crystals. But the only reason I think that is because they have a straight trajectory away from the shuttle. If they altered their trajectory at all, I'd for sure think it might be a UFO, but when it's flying straight away from the vessel, it's hard to think that it isn't something that's come off of there, either ice or an explosive bolt or something of that nature. But what if the objects were moving independently of the capsule, like this one? And this one? Those are probably satellites. Remember, the ISS is orbiting at about 250 miles above the Earth. That's low Earth orbit, and there are definitely satellites flying above this thing. And just like the other objects, if they were to alter their course, I might think that they're a UFO. But with them just passing by in the background in a straight line, I really have to think that those are satellites.
Station Houston on the Big Loop. Houston and station are now go for docking.
Finally, here we are at the docking procedure, and not only are we treated to some spectacular footage, but something interesting is about to happen. Check this out. There's another thruster blast. Boom! And then we see what appears to be debris flying everywhere. Check all that stuff out. And then, strangely enough, they cut to a different camera angle. Let's take another look at that. Wow, that's pretty cool. We got stuff flying every which direction right here. To begin with, it certainly appears that a whole bunch of stuff comes flying out of the bottom right here. And again, I think that is just condensation that's been frozen in the exhaust port of these thrusters, and when they're firing, it's dislodging that stuff outwards. And here we have another 1, 2, 3 objects that look like satellites to me because they're just moving in straight lines. I don't know, guys. These are just my opinions. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. Anyhow, the rest of the mission went pretty smoothly, and the Crew Dragon 2 was able to successfully dock with the ISS. And there was much celebration on board. Yahoo! And I couldn't help but notice that you guys got an Area 503 poster up there as well as the Dragon capsule. Well done.
Thank you very much.
No, guys, thank you.
As always, this has been Manny at Area 503. And I wish you all the best until we meet again. And I am out of here to continue my search for universal truth.